I would like to address the ongoing issue of issuance of new title deeds by the Ministry of Lands, Government of Kenya, under the bullets what, why, and what therefore. The what is that there is the ongoing process of issuance of new title deeds and the cancellation of old title deeds by the Ministry of Lands. The why, they're doing this to operationalize the Land Registration Act 2012, which came into effect on the 2nd of May 2012, having been assented by the President on the 27th of April 2012. This law or this act came into effect after also having been passed by Parliament alongside the National Land Commission Act and the Land Act of 2012, which happened on the 25th and 26th of April 2012. The Land Registration Act 2012 is an act of Parliament that was brought to life so as to revise, consolidate, rationalize the registration of titles to land and to give effect to the principles and objects of devolved government in land registration and for all other connected purposes. Its effect is to bring to life Article 68 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, which provides for the consolidation, revision, and rationalization of all laws that deal with matters land and land-based resources. The Land Registration Act principally deals with the interest in public land as well as private land and the registration of community interests in land. It repealed the acts that were initially providing for our dealings in land. That included the Government of Land Act, the Government Land Act, the Registration of Titles Act, the Land Titles Act, and the Registered Land Act. All these four acts were initially providing for our titles and our dealings in land, but now were repealed when the new act came into place. That means that the titles held under the RLA, GLA, RTA, and RTA, which are the initials of these four acts that I've said before, actually also are repealed. So the government is providing now for that window for which the holders of these title deeds should surrender them and be issued with the new titles. It has started with the region of Nairobi and has actually published a list which they released on the 12th of January 2021 for the new numbers for the titles that people hold to date. This list had the old title number, the new title number, and the acreage, and also provides for prescribed forms in which complaints are to be made in case someone finds that the details being registered now under the new registry are not in tandem with the current details. So the what therefore is that the landowners of these lands that have been publicized or published to have now new land title numbers ought to surrender the old titles to be issued with the new title deeds reading the new numbers. The need for these new titles is because the Act of 2012 provides that land titles should be consecutive, following each other. If you hold land A and another person land B, if land A is titled number 1, land B then should be number 2. Therefore, meaning that the title deed numbers we hold are actually going to be scrapped and new numbers issued, and this is exactly what is happening. And it is meant to happen for all the titles held, as I have said, under the 4 previous acts, but it is being done in phases as per region. The government also has issued a 90 days notice for the current Nairobi region that has been published, that if you have any issues within those 90 days, you should raise them for them to be regularized. Also to note is that any transactions that will happen after the April of this year will be happening under the new titles. So we are being encouraged that we may surrender our old titles for the issuance of new titles and new title numbers. Otherwise, what will happen is that come April, if you have any transactions that you need to partake, then you will have first to surrender and be issued with a new title as the transaction happens, before the transaction happens, because that will be the new requirement.